If you've just joined us, we are in conversation this evening with Dr. Boni Singu, the Associate Dean for the School of Pharmacy at the University of Namibia. Doctor, how closely linked are pharmaceutical sciences and medical research when it comes to developing safe and effective medicines, and why is that connection important for public health?
As we know, different fields of health are important, crucially important, and there has to be collaboration, working together. That's why you have certain people specialize in one area, let's say medical doctors, certain people specialize as nurses, certain people specialize as pharmacists. So medical doctors have to do with diagnosis of the problem. What is the problem? And then you can go further. What has caused the problem? And then they look at, okay, to solve this problem, what are we going to do? Okay, and then they might say, okay, we need this kind of solution, maybe a drug to stop this, that. So pharmacists with pharmaceutical science knowledge are the ones now who have to craft this drug that will be administered to the patient. From looking at what kind of molecule would actually be able to cause the change in the human system, and what formulation should be developed. What is the most suitable? Should it be inhaled? Should it be put on the skin? Should it be swallowed through the mouth? Should it be an injection? So all those decisions are done, and then it is formulated. And then you have to decide, okay, how much should we give a patient? How much should we give a patient so that this dose is safe, it doesn't harm them, but it is still efficacious. It will do the job. So that is that is the link between pharmaceutical sciences and the medical sciences.
Mm-hmm. In practical terms, how does research in pharmaceutical science influence the medication that eventually reaches our hospitals, clinics, and the pharmacies now?
Yeah, it's a very important question, and it's important to understand that pharmaceutical sciences are the ones who ensure that the medication is safe and it has efficacy, it is efficacious, so that when we take this medication, it is of the right dose and it is taken the right number of times for the right duration. And also it is important that we all know about expiry dates. Medicines have expiry dates. So it is people with pharmaceutical science knowledge who are able to determine all these things and give us the medication. It gets to the hospital, stays on the shelf, and they'll tell you that this medicine should not be longer than 3 years on the shelf. So by the end of the 3 years, it may not be safe to use, or something has to be done to that medicine. So all those things are important to ensure that the public is safe from these drugs, from these they're actually poisons, but they are poisons that we have studied and said, okay, but if we give at this certain dose, it will be safe. So you cannot do that without pharmacists.
Mm-hmm. Just staying on that point of expired medication, what actually happens to a patient or anyone that has perhaps a bottle of some cough syrup or something at home that has expired, but we feel is still effective and we consume it?
Yeah. So what happens at expiry is the following. One, there are changes that happen within that medication. So, you know, we are dealing with molecules, chemicals. So if you put a certain chemical in a certain medium, it can break down over time. So it breaks down. That means that, one, it will not be safe to use, or it will not even be efficacious. It will not have any strength. And also, the breakdown products could be harmful and poisonous to that person who is taking them. So that is why it is not recommended to continue taking a medicine beyond the expiry date.
Mm. Looking ahead, is it realistic for Namibia to reach a point where it can manufacture its own medication? And what steps would need to happen to make that possible?
Yeah, I think this is the question of the day, and it's an important question. Yeah. So first of all, we have to look at the Namibian context. One of the challenges we have as a country is our population. Yeah. And we must understand that manufacturing of medication is a business. It's big pharma. Yeah. So for you to really compete, you need to have volumes. It's a volumes game. You cannot produce and there are no volumes. So that is the first challenge we might have. That being said, it does not actually prevent us from manufacturing because the world is a global village now. We can simply begin to manufacture and supply what is needed for our local need, and then also supply to other neighboring countries. There are countries in Africa, even neighboring us, who are not able to meet their pharmaceutical needs. Why? Because their populations are really large. So Namibia could still position itself, yes, to have self-sufficiency in medication production, but also look in terms of being a powerhouse for producing medicines for the world at large. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what is needed for this to happen is an enabling environment. Yeah, it's an enabling environment, and I see government having a lot to play to make this happen. So people should be supported. The government already, but I already know that the government is supporting. The government is in support of local manufacturing. So that enabling environment is already there. Mm-hmm. But also there has to be strong regulation because medicines need to be safe. They need to be safe, and we don't want a situation where people are cutting corners, making unsafe medications for the public, unregulated medications. So we have to have a strong regulatory system. Mm-hmm. The Namibian Medicines Regulatory Council must be strengthened and must be given enough powers for it to make sure that the manufacturing industry for pharmaceuticals is indeed safe. And there's nothing we can do without finances. Yeah, we have to have the finances. Finances have to be unveiled. So those are really the enablers for this industry to take off.
Do you see us Namibia, reaching there anytime soon, or is it a plan for perhaps the long run?
I don't know what soon is in your context, but I see we are getting there. You know, looking at, for example, the number of graduates we've had, and looking at knowing all these graduates that have passed through the School of Pharmacy, I can see that there are people there who are really, really interested to get into that space. It's not for everyone. It's not for everyone, but there are people who are capable of doing it. Mm. So I believe in the next few years, Namibia will be at a very good place in terms of pharmaceutical manufacturing.
Doctor, thank you so much for engaging with us this evening.
Thank you very much, Jane.
We've come to the end of today's edition of Public Service Corner. From myself, the entire crew, as well as Doctor, it's good night.